questions, and we'll open it up to the audience. So start thinking of your questions now. You're on startup number 3 now, Branch Out. Branch Out's getting a lot of buzz. How does your experience founding Tickle, raising money for Tickle, and selling Tickle shape what you're doing with Branch Out? You've raised money for Branch Out, so the first part of the story is the same.
Yeah.
Tell me how it's kind of shaping your thinking going forward. Are you doing anything differently?
Well, and obviously, when you've got, I've been doing this for 12 years, so obviously there's experience that I can apply with Branch Out. So,
He's only 22, so do the math there. It's funky.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So how is it different? I think anytime that you have a certain level of success, whether you sold your first company for $5 million, you want to sell the next one for 10. You sell it for 10, you want to sell it for 100. So I think for me, we want to go big with this one, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we already had a $100 million company, and which was great, and it changed a lot of lives. And on this one, you want to raise a bar again. So now we've just got a higher bar that we want to hit.
So, looking at the crystal ball, do you think you would leave the bets on the table with Branch Out? Maybe it's too soon to tell, but do you think you're going to ride this one?
I love what we do. I love my team. We've got a great product, and that's all I think about all day is building a great product and user experience. We're not thinking about selling. We're not thinking about exits. We're thinking about you create a great company, and the exits will take care of itself later.
Yep, good. Anything, almost related to the last panel, anything corporate structure-wise that you learned from the first one? It sounds like the acquisition was fairly smooth, but anything you're doing different to prepare for eventual acquisition?
So there's a couple different constituencies that you should be thinking about that are important to you in building a company as well as through the sale process. One are the investors, and not only the credibility of the firm, like we've got Excel, which I would consider one of the best in the world, but the partner is really important. The partner can be a real pain in the butt if they don't align with your vision and with your desire possibly to sell at a lower valuation than they may want. One of my board is, have you ever blocked a sale? I mean, and by the way, as an entrepreneur, you get to ask them questions too, right? It's not just you selling them. If they're interested in you, they're making a bet on you. You want to make a bet on them. And Kevin said, no, I've never blocked a sale because it wouldn't be in my best interest. Because at the end of the day, you guys could say screw you, and we're walking out because you're not going to let us sell for something that's reasonable. So make sure you have the right kind of investor that aligns with an entrepreneur's kind of vision and ability to sell when it's appropriate for all parties. What Kevin did say is that he has told companies, I think you're selling too early. Let's try to pump up the value, and I think he did that with SpringSource. I think the initial offer was $300 million, and he said that's way too low, and they ended up selling for closer to $500 because Kevin pushed the process. Other people that you want involved that are important, I think, are really good lawyers. I've been very happy with our lawyers. Perkins Coie, we've been using them for 12 years now, and they become very important in the negotiation process. They do deals all day. They know what's appropriate, what can be negotiated, and I rely on them a lot in the fundraising and potential acquisition discussions. Those people are important. So board members and lawyers. And if you're doing a deal that's big enough size, let's say over $100 million, you may bring a banker in. At that point, they'll typically take anywhere from kind of 1% to as much as 2 or 3%, depending on the deal size. If the deal gets big enough, you can consider that. But if it's under $100 million, I think you really want to rely on the senior team's ability to negotiate with great lawyers and with your board members.
If anyone's tweeting tonight, I think that little nugget, asking your VC or potential VC if you've ever blocked a deal, is a great nugget. I've never heard anyone actually say that before when you're doing due diligence on your investor. That's a good one. Yeah, and by the way, I called people like Andrew Mason, the founder of Groupon, because Kevin is on the board of Groupon. He did the Facebook deal, so so it gave me the ability to talk to the other CEOs. What is Kevin like in a board meeting? What kind of investor is he? That stuff's important. I've seen plenty of other companies be destroyed by board members that either didn't get along with each other or didn't have the same alignment with the CEO and his or her vision. That's just really important as you think about growing your company. Having the right partner, not just when I say partner, I mean partner within the VC firm. So not just the credibility of the firm, but the right partner is really important. Why don't we open it up to a few questions from the audience?
Are you talking to Mike too,
Oh.
so I can get it on live stream?
So the feedback that you gave actually on doing due diligence on the partner was excellent. What, as you're going forward, what other issues do you do, or what other questions do you ask a partner when you're actually doing due diligence on them?
Yeah, good question. So, so this would be when you're talking to the VC about potentially investing. So, I think you want to look for industry experience. What can they bring to the table in terms of their experience in your market, the connections that they have, how involved they're going to be in the company, what other boards are they on? Like, how much time do they have for you, right? Because a lot of VCs will be serving on 5, 6, 7 boards, and where do you rank? Because you don't want a VC that's going to get in the way, but you want a VC that's going to be there when you need them to make a connection, an introduction, to help strategically. And we've been very fortunate with Branch Out and with my prior companies to pick the right kind of people. We also have a guy named Tim Chang, who is a partner at Norwest. Tim, in my mind, is a top 3 social gaming investor, and Branch Out brings a lot of gamification elements into recruiting and professional networking. And Tim has been invaluable around that, right? Because he was in Playdom, he was in NG Moco as an investor. So if you're able to, it's almost like building a team internally, right? You want to build a team of complementary skills. You don't want a founder that does exactly what you do. You want to be able to bring a team together that has complementary skills, and that's what I've tried to do with my board members.
Any reason why you didn't go back to the original funder of Tickle for Branch Out? It sounds like...
Yeah, so August Capital is great. David Hornick is still a very close friend of mine. The reason why Excel was a perfect investor for Branch Out is Facebook. Again, Kevin did the Facebook deal. So we share a board member with Facebook, and that's been beneficial to us in our relationship with Facebook. As a Canvas app on the Facebook platform, it's very important that we have a really good relationship with Facebook, right? So we have the guy that did the Facebook deal on my board.
All right. Good answer.
Nope.
So during the acquisition process...
Oh,
hi,
hey,
Rick.
Ron.
How are you?
Ron's supposed to heckle.
Nice.
I have a long list of jokes. No, just going to ask, managing employee communications. So an acquirer shows up at the door.
Yeah.
In your case, it worked out, but sometimes it doesn't. And managing the buzz internally, the rumor mill, as it were, before and during. Talk a little bit about how you manage
That's
that.
an awesome question. I think.
Thank you, Rick.
People. Well, I think it's awesome for other entrepreneurs to hear this because, we talked about the one time it did work out with Tickle. We had 6 failed acquisition attempts prior to that. Yahoo, AOL, IAC, Women.com, iVillage, and one other I'm forgetting, all came through our doors, did the due diligence process, and deals fall apart. And the next panel could speak to this as well. Deals fall apart all the time. You just don't hear about it. You only hear the deals when they get done, the big deals that TechCrunch and Mashable cover. You don't hear about the other 6 of them that didn't happen for us. It's really important to manage expectations internally, and the best way to do that is to contain the information to the people that need to know. The senior management team probably needs to know because they're part of the due diligence process of the acquiring company wanting to meet the management team. If you jerk people around at a lower level and they're out there and they want to go buy a new car and they want to go put a down payment on a house and then the deal falls apart, now they got excited and now they feel depressed. They didn't have to feel any of that, right? They could have just continued to do their work, not be distracted, and just crank through. I mean, think about what happened at Yahoo last year with Microsoft. All these Yahoo people, yeah, we're going to sell, we're going to make some money, and then it falls apart. Now, if they had just kept doing their thing, they would have felt okay about it. But in the end, Yahoo, kind of blew that, and but everybody knew about it. So my advice there is contain it to the people that need to know, and because the people at the lower level may not be able to handle the rejection that when deals don't happen, and in a lot of cases we actually walked away. In some other cases, I think the acquirer walked away. It happens all the time. So as entrepreneurs, by the way, if someone comes to you and wants to acquire your company and starts the due diligence process, don't expect 100% close rate. Okay, expect to go through the process and provide information that's appropriate, but these things don't always get closed.
Can you talk about why the other deals leading up to Tickle or leading up to Monster didn't go through? Or was there a pattern to those, or was it?
Yeah, I mean, some of them I think were cultural fit. There were some companies or geography. You know, we didn't want to move to Virginia. We didn't feel it was the right cultural fit for some of them. I mean, all those things have to match up, and you know, acquisitions are tough. You know, finding you know, the right acquirer at the right price. I mean, you know, it's tough to have everything align and be in a position that you want to stay on there for a while.
Good.
Gleb, did you? So you talked about Monster knowing that there was an offer from August to invest at a certain level, but did you have conversations with Monster before, just about partnerships or any company stuff, or did they literally just come out of the blue and say, "Hi, we're interested"? And were you? Did you think about exit strategy in general, and kind of reach out to people and engage, or was it really just?
Yeah, in that
cold?
case, it was actually totally out of the blue. We were ready to go with Excel. Like, we were good to go. Jim Breyer, who's kind of a big deal, is going to be on our board, and I was pretty excited to have him involved with the company. That was out of the blue. The impetus behind it was that they had acquired another company called Military.com, who's another HBS guy, Chris Michael, who's one of my close friends, an investor in BranchOut, and Andy McKelvey, the chairman, said, "Who do we buy next?" And he said, "You should really take a look at Tickle. They're cranking, and they've got, you know, the biggest career testing site out there." And that personal connection is what got Monster excited. And then the timetable that we were about to sign the term sheet got everybody moving quickly. And you know, the other thing that's interesting is that when you start companies, and you know, every entrepreneur does this, you think about who are your potential acquirers and exits, and there's no way Monster ever would have been on my list. When we started a personality testing site in 1999 and sold it to Monster, they never would have been on there. But it turned out it made sense. We ended up having, you know, a lot of career tests and 200 million people that were taking those tests. So don't think too hard about the acquirer. Think hard about building a great business, and the exit will take care of itself.
Other questions? Anyone else got something? Going once.
Covered it all.
Bueller. Yes, sir. One more.
Last one.
Hi, you mentioned you had a second startup. Can you speak a little bit about that? Did that also exit? And if so, how was that different from the first one?
Yeah, so the second one was called Superfan. And that built social games and Facebook apps for big brands. We did it for ourselves originally, and then for big brands like CBS and MTV. And we got the company profitable, but at the time that we were starting to really get traction with Superfan, I had the kind of the spark, the idea for BranchOut. And because we had the right DNA with doing social media with Tickle, career networking with Monster, and then Facebook apps with Superfan, when we had this idea for BranchOut and realized how big of an idea it was, I actually pivoted the whole team, even though we had a profitable company, because Superfan was never going to scale to what BranchOut can become, which is kind of a pretty kind of a radical thing to just flip around and do something totally different. But we were very fortunate to have a team in place that knew exactly how to do those three things and jump on that and get that first mover advantage. So Superfan, we got it profitable and then just went in a different direction.
Good. Anyone else?
All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
Nathan, you can stay there. Do I have the rest of my panelists in the audience? Ryan, Robbie, Mark, and I think it's Xian, but I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. Sean. If you guys want to step up, we'll kick off your panel.
Bunch of seats over here.
Bunch of seats in the
folks
front
wanna
and on the
sit.
sides. So all of you guys mingling in the back if you want to sit down. You guys have tent cards. Ryan, would you grab the tent cards that are behind you? They have your names on them. Or Nathan can grab them. You've got pretty tent cards.
Passes down. Do we have another sponsor?
We do.
Commercial?
Silicon Valley Bank. I didn't know who was giving your spiel. Do any of you want to talk? I really like Silicon Valley Bank. They're cool. John, come here. So they're their original little speaker. They're one of our sponsors. We really appreciate. They actually provided